Welcome back from our intermission after the first game between Team POG and ROS, where POG came out on top. And to those who are joining us just now, hello and welcome. My name is Torres, accompanied by my fellow caster, Rapterra, for this battle of playoff seeding between Team H Block and Ace.
Yeah, glad to be back, and this is a really important match. Both of these teams are tied in the standings right now at 5th and 6th. If standings hold, the whoever ends up in the 6th is going to have to end up playing SGR in the first round of the playoffs. So they're both fighting for, jockeying for positions in this game. They both need to try to get the win here, start climbing up the standings, and avoid ending up in that position.
Yeah, definitely looking for those better playoff seeding. Of course, a pretty similar record, but different. I would say I'm a former Ace member as myself, where I think the mechanics are very strong on Ace. I think H Block has a little bit more better team play. I mean, at the moment, depending on what style comes out, but I mean, overall, I am a little biased towards Ace, but without a doubt, I am sure H Block can show up one heck of a fight. Something I do want to point out, though, on the side of Ace, BBZ Sungo is not in. That is actually Sword Blue. It is a visual bug, but that will be fixed when we get in game. But Rap, how do you feel about these bans and these picks coming out right now?
Yeah, so I like the bans from H Block. They're going with a lot of aggressive divers. They're clearly trying to probably get I'm guessing a very mobile AD carry. I'm gonna guess maybe something like a Kog'Maw, maybe even Vayne, and she's a little bit mobile but still can get dived on pretty easily. So good sensitive ban right there. Aces are kind of a little bit more over the place. I guess they're looking to stop with a little bit of burst, and maybe they called HBK on seeing those bans about trying to get something mobile and stop that Vayne. But ooh, Draven coming out from Ace, that's pretty nice to see.
Yeah, a little bit of spice coming from the Ace. They are known for that solo queue kind of style. Of course, can't do no team play, can't play through it, but I mean, what really shines through is their mechanics, as these players are very high rank on the ladder, are able to are mechanically endowed, and I mean, if they're able to get this ball rolling with this Draven, maybe some signature hyper carry up in the top lane from Mr. Burst Limit, maybe Delete. We've seen his Nocturne mid helping to facilitate those lanes, maybe get Draven ahead. We'll see what comes out, but I mean, all in all, if the ball gets rolling on Ace and this Draven with his adoration stacks, I mean, this game can go way out of control.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit crazy, and now you're seeing it looks like a Leona lock in there, so a lot of CC for H Block, a lot of ability to just get onto this Draven, which that's gonna be really dangerous for Ace. They're gonna have to be very careful and very defensive with this AD carry. They have to try to maybe draft something. I'd say like maybe a Tom Kench. I know it seems kind of weird with it, but I mean Lulu is also a good option here. At least keep him healthy and give him time to maybe react.
Yeah, I mean, the Tom Kench rap? No, we double down. We have to go with that aggressive style. I guess
you're right.
Spoken too soon. I mean, the all-in does come in from Braum. I mean, a little bit of protection. You do know, I mean, the Draven does counterpick into the Leona quite nicely with the E. The Axis can disrupt Leona's E mid-jump. If the spacing is well enough, the Braum ult can knock up Leona mid-E2. A lot of disengage. Not necessarily disengage, but the peel will be strong for this Draven up on the other side of the game. But of course, that Morgana first pick, that Black Shield, is going to be a problem for the later stages of the game, where those 3v3 fights, those 5v5s, whatever, those team fights coming out are going to be difficult for this Draven to maneuver around once the Zanya Hourglass is optimized.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be really dependent upon what the top and mid for both these teams are to help with this. So far, it's just a lot of dive, a lot of initiation, hoping you just blast the AD carries into the air and you kill them before they can react or get back down. So I think this will how the second round of picks goes will really determine how these team comps are going to play. Is this a what's it called, a Sivir carry comp? Like, it's just Sivir all the way, nothing but Sivir. We're just throwing our eggs in this basket, or is this a complete team fight comp? You're using the Sivir to accent the rest of your team. And in the case of Draven, is Draven your one damage threat? Are you playing Protect the Draven, or are you going to try for another split threat comp as well? So I'm interested to see where these both go. Two mid lane bans and two top lane bans, so pretty even across that. In the middle, both trying to grab out assassins, trying to stop mid laners from that can just quickly dive onto the AD carries and destroy them. And I think a Rumble would actually be a really good pick for a team fight for Ace.
Yeah, Rumble being, I mean, taking it away, kind of. Of course, it won't be going to jungle, as I assume Rek'Sai will be in the jungle. But a Rumble mid, Rumble top is always a good pickup. Good zone control, good choke control, whatever you want it. From the side of Ace, and I mean, it looks like Draven will not be their sole damage dealer. On the side of Ace, not putting their eggs all in one basket, looking for more volatile comp. In the end, it looks like a Rise is going to be picked up from HBK.
Yeah, that's a very scary late game scaling comp. You've basically got two machine guns. You've got the Sivir with the basic attacks and Rise with the ability spam. Both scale very well. Both are great to have, and especially if they take this Wukong here, they're going to have a very solid front line, a lot of CC to lock down, and buy time and space for their carries to just pop off in a fight. So I think that would be a good pick. Malphite also a good pick here. That's a lot of engage too, a lot of front lining. Draven's going to have a hard time getting through him, same with Rek'Sai. So that could be a good way to just buy the space, give the time for the machine guns start popping off.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Malphite come in from the side of Hyatt. I mean, from the side of HBK. Hyatt will be piloting it, but on that side of the map, I think we saw the Wukong get hovered, but I mean, I think it was a safer bet to go for Malphite, as you're still waiting for that hard counter on the side of Ace. You expect Burst Limit to counter pick you if he's not going to be playing a tank. And as Morgana was already first picked up from HBK, I didn't expect him to play one of his tanks, his signature tanks, such as Scion. I expected more of a carry performance out from Burst Limit. And I mean, I think HBK noticed that and ended up picking the Malphite, knowing he'd have to play weak side, but still able to do something with a safer pick, with more gold efficient, would be that Malphite in the steed of the Wukong.
Yeah, and I like this Aurelia too. It's another carry threat for Ace. That's something that can dive and get around the Malphite. It's also something that you gotta be really careful with, because if it gets fed, it is basically unbeatable until the very late game. So, and these are both very aggressive comps. They're both comps itching for a team fight, looking to make plays across the map. I like this. I like to see this, and I'm excited to watch how this game goes. I'd give the favor right now to Ace, just because I think their comp comes online a little bit earlier and is a little bit easier to execute, in terms of, okay, we don't have to wait till 40 minutes for everything to be online, then team fight and try to buy space. Like, they can just drop everything and get a kill.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Team Ace's comp. Of course, HBK has a lot of potential with that hard engage. And if that Rise doesn't really necessarily get ahead, or like farms a side wave efficiently, falls behind in levels, they will not have that much damage for the Sivir, as being one of their dual damage dealers, mind me. But I mean, I feel like what the early game focus is going to be is that Rek'Sai was picked to kind of just force the early game into the hands of Ace. Maybe I'm expecting him to focus the top side of the map, despite, even though this Malphite's playing weak side, we will know he will get encountered. Even though he's going against a double AD matchup, it won't matter much in the early game. And if Vambian can effectively pass on that top side of the map and get the Irelia burst limit ahead, I can see the Irelia matching the Rise just fine. There's no damage left on the other side of the map for the 4v4, where Rise is not there. Anyways, I give the draft advantage over to Ace, but I mean, we'll have to see what will happen inside the game. But I mean, Rap, do you see any potential? How do you feel like the early game is going to play out from both these teams?
So I think Ace is going to try to... I think Rek'Sai is going to come in a lot. I think Vambian's going to be looking to gank this bot lane as often as he can. He wants to get Draven fed. It might not be the first gank, though. I mean, you want to give him some time to get a couple stacks on himself, just to maximize cash out, maximize gold efficiency. So I could see him possibly going for the mid lane, get Aurelia lead to set Rise behind and take control of that, and then just start constantly ganking bot lane. You want to give Draven as many kills as you can, give him as many of those gold passive stacks that he can just take for himself, and just get him snowballing, because Draven is all about getting the lead as quickly as possible to just dominate your opponent. On the side of HBK, I think Morgana, she might do the same thing. Again, it is a Draven. He isn't, like, he's got a speed boost, but if he gets hit by a Q, he's hit by a Q. Grom, though, is there, so that could make that a little bit difficult to land that perfectly, but then you could just dive and kill Braum. I could also see going topside, going onto the Rumble. He's only got the movement speed. Drop a Q on him, Malphite, try to get a kill there, try to get your tank big just in case the Draven starts popping off. I think it just depends on the state of... I think HBK can be a little bit more reactive with their jungler and their what they're doing, because if Rek'Sai starts going ganking bot a lot, you just go to the other side of the map. Whatever side Vambian is on, Pro Loople needs to be on the opposite side, trying to get that side fed. Or maybe even just trying to counter gank. Both of those are viable options here. You just don't want a power farm, because the Morgana, while good with a power farm, I don't think is the major threat here, and she needs to facilitate her team getting the lead. She needs to get those carries fed. She needs to get them online, get them to their power spikes as quickly as possible. I also think we'll probably see, at least on the side of Ace, we're going to see Delete roaming a bit. Aurelia is a great roamer, great for picking up, setting up kills, great for picking up kills, and if she picks them up instead of Draven, like that's still actually okay, because Aurelia scales just really well, and she does very well in the late game. And if she gets a lead on Ryze, it's going to be a nightmare for him.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was talking about in that side lane. If the Ryze does not get enough waves in with the gold, won't be able to match up with that fed burst limit. If he does get ahead, that Wit's End will be a very good item on the side of burst limit. We'll be able to solo the Ryze up on that lane. And I mean, from the side, I agree with you with that jungle pathing, where I mean, while Morgana is one of the S tier picks of the patch, it can, if not pathed effectively from the side of Pro Loople, Vambian will take over this game because the lanes will just snowball out of control. I mean, that Black Shield and the Dark Binding only does so much to stop that Draven if he's an item and a half ahead of your ADC or the rest of your team comp. The damage will go through, and I mean, Draven will essentially be 3-shotting you with axes all around this map. And to the point where, even if this Malphite does get armor and scale to the late, I don't expect this game to go to late game. From the side of Team Ace, I expect him to just snowball through this game. Kind of something similar to what we saw from Pog. Maybe not to that extent where it's a 17k gold lead, but I mean, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, that's what I expect from Ace too. And the more I think about it, also the downside also for the top lane is Malphite is very close range. Rumble is just gonna roast him, force him off minion wave, so it could be a pretty rough match for the Malphite. So maybe Morgana actually just should pay pathing topside just to kind of make sure that that Hayat doesn't fall behind. It's just, you don't want Malphite falling behind. He can just use his ult still. He'll always be effective, but like if he ults and just immediately dies, okay, there's nothing to defend your team anymore except Leona. So that's going to be pretty dangerous. He needs to at least keep even with this Rumble. And I'm liking this. I guess we should discuss also that Ace is running a sub. I do not think it is Songo. I think that might be a technical bug. I am pretty sure that it is.
It is Sword Blue.
It is Sword Blue. Okay, so it is Sword Blue. So if everyone knows, Sword Blue is a great AD carry, but he's also made his name as a support player. So yeah, that's a big boost for Ace right there. That's a support that you can definitely rely on to get things done.
Yeah, it looks like done with that little bit of permission. We talked about the game, and it looks like they've already gotten onto the Rift. Everybody's kind of gotten to this line of scrimmage. So Sad Sam and Sword Blue making their way into the bot side jungler, kind of staring off Dalcom. The Winter's Bite barely misses onto the Leona. And I mean, everybody just gets away scot-free getting those early wards down.
Yeah, and we see two tiers starting off on the side of HBK. So they are, again, trying to get that scaling online. I mean, that's a pretty standard start. I've seen a lot of Sivers running Manamune since the item rework, so that makes a lot of sense. Though that does mean that their lane presence, I think, is going to be weaker, at least on the side of Sivir. She doesn't have any AD, really, to kind of facilitate that a duel. So if she gets caught in a duel with Draven and Braum, they're going to lose out. They're definitely going to be losing out on these early trades. And that's a little concerning. It's actually, okay, so Sam is the support. Sword Blue is going to be the AD carry. So still playing on his traditional, still a role he's really good at. And I'm really excited to watch his Draven. This will be the lane to watch this game. This is going to be a very bot lane centric game. Mid will also be a place of point of interest. But yeah, it's just going to be standard starting. No one's going to try to do anything crazy because this is a game that could get out of control very quickly if you do something like an invade and make a mistake. But based on the pathing, so I think what we were saying earlier, I think Vambian's focus is going to be bot lane and
2v2 play from the bush. Sword Blue and So Sad Sam going in very aggressive on the Winter's Bite lands. The axes are landing, and I mean, Address is forced to flash early with a sliver of health, but so sad Sam and Sorbo are taking the advantage up. A little interesting that Sorbo didn't want to burn the flash, but I mean, in the end, does have a major health advantage, and the Morgana was forced to kind of delay her pathing on that as well. Idris, of course, the Sivir, has no summoner spells, so the side of Ace can go in for that 2v2 whenever they want. And although they didn't get the kill, they do have lane pressure for a long time, and an
Yeah,
already losing matchup.
yeah, there's no reason to really waste the flash. I mean, yeah, you could get the kill, but you could all like she's low. She's gonna have to burn all of her pots. She's not gonna be able to really pressure you in lane because of that, because she can't take trades anymore. And you can just get a couple stacks of sword blue and then kill her and then cash in on that and get that little bit extra gold. It's all about efficiency. It's all about gold efficiency here. It's the name of the game for them, and that was a great start to this. They've both burned on the side of HBK all of their pots. Morgana was forced to kind of rotate down a little bit, slow the Krug clear just ever so slightly. So you can see she's just getting onto Wolves right now, and they're already in a good position. If Ambient comes down here, there is no escape for Sivir. There's just, you don't have flash, you don't have heal. The only thing you can hope for is that maybe the Leona can buy you some time with her Q or her E. So they've got to play extra safe. And then you see they're already backing. They're already down so much. He has 13 CS at 3.5 minutes. That's not a good position to be in if you're HBK.
Not a good position at all. Vambian moving around the map freely. You can see that Pro Loop kind of came up, but Burst Limit sniffing it out backs up. Something I want to take note of though is that Burst Limit and Delete had actually swapped characters. Don't know if it was more of a flex pick, as I know both these players can play this champion, but looks like Burst Limit's making his way, kind of aggressing an H block. Pro Loop will kind of just sticking around, kind of just hanging around. Did not get his Gromp, opted for the gank early instead of getting the Gromp. Kind of pulled between the laners, just wondering what to do. I mean, Vambient's been shown up on that control ward, and I mean, both junglers have been seen at this point.
Yeah, and the swap makes sense. Rumble Malphite again does not do well into Rumble. He's just going to get pushed out all the time. Might as well switch him mid. That means he can also roam too. Even if he's behind it at level 6, he can just go down bot, get an ult, good to go. There is no spell shield on the side. Again, it is a Draven, so you can't block a Malphite with a Braum wall. So that's going to be really good for them in that setup.
In that setup, a little interesting that Pro Loop has actually opted into not ganking the Malphite. Probably wondering where Vambian is, as it has been a couple seconds. Has gone dark. Has opted into the Raptor, clearing Vambian's Raptors instead of going for that gank. But I mean, Delete is still in a position to get ganked after he does take those Raptors.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. He doesn't know where Pro Loople is. He needs to probably get a ward out, though he has senses something is up. He's going to get that ward over in the try. Pro Loople, his bot lane is just getting absolutely mauled right now. So he's looking for something here onto burst limit, but now he's been spotted. They know he's here, and Vambian can get into position to counter gank this thing goes through, but Loople is just going to back out. He doesn't want to make that play right there. Doesn't want to risk, especially once he's been spotted. If Ambient's in the area, it could just go disastrously. And like we were talking about this bot lane, it is absolutely a slaughter right now. This is probably the most stomping of a bot lane, I think, at least in terms of CS, that I've seen this season. Like you're down like a quarter of your enemy's CS right now.
Yeah, I mean,
100. All right,
go ahead. To your point, go ahead.
I was saying he's got 128 Draven's adoration stacks. Like once he goes for that kill and cashes in, it's gonna hurt. And a teleport coming in.
Just went to the Raptor camp. Getting a little overzealous over here. Pro Loople misses the Dark Binding and Vambian gets out, but Hyad had to burn TP for that. Of course, he was coming back to the lane, but I mean, does end up in Ace's favor. Especially on that bot side of the map. I mean, as you were talking about, Rap, that early game lead, even though they didn't get the kill, they are pushing the advantage. So said Sam finds Pro Loople in the bush while Vambian's doing the dragon. Pro Loople kind of scares him off, and I mean, does stop the Drake.
Yeah, it looked like Pro Loople, maybe he realized that just by the aggressive stancing that Sosat Sam was taking, that Vambiant was probably in the area, and Morgana, doesn't really, like, she can, if she threw that Q out, it could be in to lock down the Braum. It could be really disastrous because then Rek'Sai can just jump on her. She has no way to get out of that. And
it's made his way over to the mid lane. Delete trying to land the stun. A great equalizer from Burst Limit with Delete. A good roam timer goes in, forces the flash of the Malphite and the Morgana. Morgana going down in that exchange. But I mean, we'll see how it all went down.
Yeah, this was really smart, buying all this time and then forcing them into the tunnel. Burst Limit getting the ult onto both of them, getting so much damage out. The ult coming through from Delete to slow them down, and their only option is to try to flash and hope that they can get out. They don't know where the Rumble is. He could have been up by those Raptors for all they knew, but they flash right into him. They lose the Morgana. Now the Malphite's out too. He did have all. He was also forced to use that too. I want to know in that fight. So got a lot out of it on the side of Ace, and it is first blood. It's on the Aurelia. That's of the two, the one I think you want to put it on the most. Rumble will scale just fine, even if he's not getting a massive lead. But Aurelia getting that lead early is going to be really difficult. It's going to make Malphite have to play even more defensively. It means that she can thus push the lane more and thus roam. And I think that was a good play. And I think H Block is struggling to kind of contain burst limit right now.
Yeah, we saw some great roams from the Rumble from Gunsy last game, and in Burst Limit showing that he can do the same up from the top side of the map this time. It's great. I want to point out the great spatial awareness Burst Limit had on that play. You could see that it was pretty much calculated that they had this Hayat and Prolupal were going to flash over that wall towards. So Burst Limit positioned himself on the other side, showing the health bars to delete, just shoving them down to about 25% HP, forcing them to flash towards their turret, and Burst Limit was there. And without that spacing, I don't think they would have gotten one of those kills. Or at least I would have to burn a flash for it.
Yeah, just being able to stay there was smart. And also gave the vision for the Aurelia for Delete to go right over the wall with the Q. So that was also very good. Excellent usage of their champions, knowing their limits of their vision. And this is looking like a good point for Ace. We said they needed to kind of get it going. They do scale late, but they want to get that early lead and look to start this up. And it's going well so far. Massive lead in the bot lane. You got a kill lead in the mid lane. Top lane has got a little bit of a lead, still even. Jungle a little bit behind, but that's okay. You don't need to really be in that lead. You're a Rek'Sai as long as you are putting pressure on the map. That's all that matters. The bonus is more on Morgana because she needs to set up her team to get out of these a little bit damning situations, while Rek'Sai can just start farming at this point. And this is a good spot for Ace. As long as they keep up this pace, I think they're going to have a chance here. And I'm just waiting for this bot lane to explode. Someone is going to slip up, and someone is going to die sometime in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like Bambi and Delete are moving around to try to get that vision in the top side of the jungle. Playing with the pressure that they have, knowing that Morgana's there, knowing that the lane was shoved in the mid lane prior, so was able to move. But I mean, definitely not as bloody as the game that we just saw prior, but I mean, definitely you can see the similarities between Team Pog and Team Ace right now, and being able to control the flow of the game.
Yeah, and the flow is very much in favor of Ace. They're definitely controlling the map at this point too. They're just kind of dictating where things are going to happen, what objectives they're going to get, what they're just going to let HBK have.
Looks like a little bit. Dalcom lands the solar flare onto Sword Blue. Looks like an unstoppable force coming out from Hayao. Good roam going down. I mean, we were talking about that misstep happening on the bot side. We just didn't expect it to happen from the side of Ace. I mean, look, the solar flare lands perfectly. A little bit of a late cleanse. It's forced to cleanse the solar flare, but I mean, the Q from the Morgana, the stun, the Hayat comes in with the unstoppable force, knocks them up. And I mean, Sword Blue and So Sad Sam just don't have the time to flash. They've already not having the time to flash. They had the time to flash, but I mean, they didn't have the health bars to survive the damage that would have came through the follow-up.
Yeah,
but and I don't has gone down on H block on the top side of the map. Puts down the equalizer, kind of misses, but Burst Limit kind of having to run away from a fight that he started.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird positioning of the ultimate. Unfortunately, unable to get that right on top of the rise. So at that point, I realized, okay, maybe I shouldn't go in. But hang on, Delete is looking for something right here.
Going in with the ult, drops down, gets 5 passive stacks, does pick up that kill onto Prolupal. A little bit scary, but on the top side of the match, H-Block has managed to solo out Burst Limit.
Yeah, he's getting a little confused right here. They're just trying to, they look feeling like they're playing a little bit scared right there. They don't need to. Yeah, they gave up 2 kills, but, they're still in a dominating position. You need to be safe. And once Rumble lost that fight with the ultimate, he shouldn't be trying to continue it. Rise is still going to be able to get some damage out. He's still going to be able to use his E to go through the minions. And I feel like Burst Limit stayed a little too long there. On that bottom side fight, you saw that they didn't see the Malphite until he literally showed up. He only showed up on the ward for a blink of an eye, so easy to miss that. Because it was just like a clip. It could have been just a glitch in the game, the old Nunu bug that everyone remembers, the vision just appearing randomly on the map. So This was it was really hard to dodge that. It was a good attempt to try to turn that around. They almost got Dalcom out of it. Now
Sorbo's
they're
going in. Winter's Bite does land on the Dalcom, getting some poke damage down. I mean, a good trade, but what looks to be a good trade until Idris lands that Q. You can see the mana immune damage coming in. Sorbo gets hit by both sides of that Q from Idris, and I mean, his health bar goes down to half.
Yeah, Idris has a little bit of an advantage right now just because he has the first full item. Manamune is an item that, you complete. It's super cheap because it takes time to set up, so that's more of its cost is time. And, fight in mid lane.
Fight mid lane, Prolupo flashing down, double down onto the delete. Looks like HBK has gone a little bit too far forward. Tragedy struck for the side of HBK. Doubles down, tries to go into delete, thinking they're going to finish him off, but I mean, in the end, he survived with just a sliver of HP.
Yeah, let's see how this
plays down.
Yeah, let's see how this broke out. It looks like Delete was just coming into farm. Lupo backed off that bottom lane and is just trying to get some minions, trying to push his wave in a bit. And Lupul's like, hey, let's go in right here. Delete going forward, doesn't see Lupul, gets engaged on, but the ult coming in, burst limit coming there on the side. Hayat almost picks up the kill here, but Lupul backs away, doesn't drop the W, and it gives Delete the time. Buys him enough time for Vambi to come in, CC the Malphite so he can't get any more hits out, gets them the kill, gets away with it, and it's such a great collapse. It looked like HBK had it in the bag, but Burst and Vambi just collapsing on the collapse. It's collapseception here.
Winter's Bite does land on Idris, but I mean, coin charge looks like a fight's happening down in the bot lane. Swordflare does land on the Sword Blue. Dalcom going in, landing those stuns. I mean, so sad Sam stuck in a vulnerable situation. The Boomerang Blade does slice right through him. We'll see what happened on the bot side of the map. Looks like a channeling of a Hex Flash from the Dalcom. Zenith Blade comes out onto So Sad Sam. Looks like a great Solar Flare onto Sorbo. Kind of looks like he just walked into it, not greeting with his flash. And I mean, a little bit of a misplay goes a long way for the side of HBK, picking up a double kill into the bot lane.
Yeah, if he had just flashed, he would have gotten out of that. But I guess, he was just worried that maybe he wouldn't get far enough. And the lead they've got in the bot lane starting to dwindle away. The kills are kind of making up the CS difference. But now the Draven does have his shield bow on. And delete. Unfortunately.
A little bit unfortunate. You can see how much of a struggle it is to deal with this Ryze. Well, Ryze is known for having DPS. He's also known for having movement speed and getting out of these slippery situations. With that phase rush, that man is just untouchable.
And now HBK, they've spotted two top sides. It was time to start up this dragon. Infernal, it's just going to be one Infernal, but still great to have on the map. It's great for them just get a little bit more damage out, kind of accelerate their scaling. But there's a teleport coming in.
Teleport coming down. So said Sam, putting the same behind me. Smite does go down to Prolupo. TP's coming in with the Whirling Death from the side. Delete on the side of the map. Burst from is inside the middle of the pit. It looks like HBK is stuck in this pit, just running around. The damage is coming down from Ace, and I mean, you've won those last couple of fights, H-Block. It looks like a favorable situation as you were able to pick up that dragon, but I mean, if you're using all your abilities on the dragon, there's nothing left for the members of Ace, and they do pick up that win despite losing the Drake.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was that they all walked into the pit. They saw the teleport there, but they didn't respect the Rumble. He drops the ult immediately, not only on the dragon trying to steal, but right across the entrance of the pit. So if they want to get out, they have to walk across the fire. It also splits up HBK so that they can't help each other out, which gives Ace the time to kind of get some damage out, to pick up some kills, let Draven and Sword Blue get his damage out across the wall. Excellent TP on. So I thought it was going to end. I was really confused at first because I was like, there's only two there, but I also think I saw So Sad there. He dropped his ultimate as the teleport came through just to prevent anybody on HBK from getting to drop an ability on Rumble right away, which gave him time for that ultimate. It was just good coordination of their ultimate abilities overall from this team. And now Prolupo is being hunted.
Down the Prowler's Claw going in from Vambian. Prolupo not expecting that damage does go down to Vambian, picking up that nice kill. A little bit of a jungle diff going on right now.
Yeah, and they might try to dive H-Block right here too.
Vambian's just moving forward. I mean, he's caught in the jungle. I mean, does meet the bot lane. It's a little squishy as he's gone for that lethality build, but I mean, they're hanging around. So Sad Sam is wrapped around the corner. Vambian's still poking around, trying to see what he can get. Looks like the dive has been caught off on the top side of the map between Burst Woman and Delete, not knowing where those members were. But I mean, Sorbu has been farming.
Yeah, their team is a little bit separated. It's probably not the best place to be right there. Malphite, a choke point with Malphite is a no bueno situation. He's just gonna ult. You're gonna die.
He's gonna get ganked. The Winter's Bite misses from Sosa Sam, does go wide, but does force H-Block to flash. And I mean, that's a win for Ace.
Yeah, they had to burn the Aurelia out, but I mean that's a much lower cooldown than the Flash, so I think you'll take that any day of the week. Vambient just farming up the bot side while everyone's distracted up there. They didn't get the Infernal, mind you, but it is going to be an Ocean Drake, and I think Ocean Drake is going to be a great dragon for both of these teams. It's going to allow them to be able to kind of take the hits early on and maybe survive. So I can expect both of these to be fighting over it. The kills are close, but this goal lead is actually ballooned massively in the last couple of minutes for Ace. They got a lot of money out of that from those kills there. They did pick up the Malphite. Actually, no, that was a little bit earlier. Sorry, but they got quite a bit of gold out of that fight around Dragon, and they've already converted that into a big advantage. This Draven is getting close to second item, so is Aurelia. She hasn't built her Mythic yet. I'm guessing she's going to probably go for Stride Breaker, I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't know. She's got something for Stride Breaker, but could also be towards Trinity Force. Just depends. This Rek'Sai going for a very aggressive damage build, though. I want to point out he's got Prowler's Claw. Prowler's Claw is so strong right now.
Yeah, Prowler's Claw without he is ahead of his opponent, Pro Loophole. I mean, we saw what he can do if he gets onto the Morgana. That Black Shield really means nothing when it comes to those physical damage. When it comes down to that Queen's Wrath, gets three hits down real fast, hits him with a Furious Bite, and I mean, the Morgana drops down very fast. We can expect to see Pro Loophole once he finishes his Mythic item. We can expect him to get the stopwatch and the Zonias very fast. Looks like Soset Sam has landed the Winter's Bite down onto H block. H block having no flash from that previous encounter, but I mean, Burst Limit is a little too low before this, and I mean, H block gets that, Hayat TP's in, and I mean, no one goes down in that little scuffle.
I think honestly that was a bad move by H block. I think you could have not teleported and just taken that fight, especially like you want to activate, just walk out of it. Burst Limit was overheated. He can't cast any abilities, and you've got Hayat coming in, so you could have just ulted and killed him. But now H block's gonna pay for it with his life.
Yeah, no flash. Looks like Stormblue has landing the axe. The rolling. These axes coming down, but hey, the perfect unstoppable force comes down. H block goes with a sliver of HP, and I mean, what looked like a kill onto H block has turned drastically on the side of onto H block and his team, and I mean, man, it's just tragedy after tragedy. But on the boss side, the map looks like a 2v2 scuffle came out from Delete and Vambient, and I mean, looks like Dalcom kind of just salvages the fight from the 2v1, does manage to take down Vambient, not enough attack speed. Not able to finish off Dalcom, but I mean, on the side of H-Block, that is a win.
Yeah, Ace got way too aggressive there. They saw the Malphite coming. They were just hoping, they were like, we can do this. We can just try to kill H-Block quickly. But, you know, they missed it. That you saw that last E missing from Sword Blue. It doesn't hit H-Block, so he's managed to just barely get out alive, and that gives enough time for Hayat to just get that kill, get the ult in, which gave time for HBox to then get his DPS out. They turn the fight, they take it. Bot side, Vambient got a little too aggressive there. I think he misjudged how much damage his ult can do, but you know, Delete is still scaling. He's still getting scary, and now this Ocean Drake is up, but there's no one on the side of HBK. Well, they're starting to get in position, but I think it's just gonna go to HBox. I think they were just already on this.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little trepidatious from this Drake take. I mean, it is burning down fast. Burst Limit is TPing down. Looks like Burst Limit has made his way into the pit. The Smite fight does go over to Pro Loophole and H Block in the squad, but I mean, ends up costing them 2 members from what they looked like a commanding position. They just drop down really fast. They kind of a split situation where they want to finish the Drake, but some of them want to fight, and they end up 2 of them stuck in the pit, and they just don't fight at all.
Yeah, and they get the dragon, but 2 kills going over to Delete. Especially, that's actually bad because the Morgana had reset her gold value with those kills in the top lane, so she was worth the full amount. Juicy gold for Aurelia. And, you know, you can give up the first Ocean. It's just 1 Ocean Drake. It's okay. They're not on soul point yet. It's not a dangerous position, so it's fine to take it. The healing won't mean that much. And you know, Ace comes out ahead on that one. Yes, you lose a dragon, but now your Aurelia, like, she's 6-1 right now. This is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, this is exactly where Ace wants to be. Of course, wishing that H-Block didn't have as many kills as he has that goal. But looks like Pro Looper's going to walk into that bush. Looks like the Dark Binding does land on the Vanvia, but only stalls as the Flame Spitter and Ace and squad follow down. Winter's Bite does finish off Pro Loophole. And Delete lands that ultimate, jumping onto H-Block, and I mean, on the side of Ace, but on the bot side of the map, something else was going down. Sorbu was caught in a 3v1 situation. The boomerang after the unstoppable force, just an easy pickup onto Sorbu. Of course, he loses a couple stacks for that, but I mean, he picked up 2 or 3 waves before dying, has finished that collector now, and it's going to be a very big threat despite being 0-4.
Yeah, Swordboo's just been caught multiple times this game. It's been very unfortunate for him, but that's like, the weakness of Draven, and I think that's why the rest of Aces rotated their position. Draven is not mobile. If he gets caught, he's dead. There's no escape. He's got the E maybe, but you can't E a Malphite ult. So Ace is basically gone. We're giving up on this sword.
Into the tower. Takes half of his health bar. I mean, HBK and squad just trying to fend off this turret, but I mean, help has arrived. Idris has come in. The solar flare did land onto the Ace members. Sosat Sam forced to flash out. Dewey does drop in that exchange, and it looks like Ace was kind of baited in by Vambian's E, going a little too far forward, not expecting the damage or being able to defend that tower. Dalcom and Hayat stalled enough for Idris to come out, and it looks like they moved on towards the Baron, questioning whether they can do it or not, as looks like they're going to start it.
Yeah, that's a free Baron. You've lost your big carry on the side of Ace, so that's the call. Though Burst Limit is here, he could drop an ultimate. It could be pretty scary, but they stayed a little bit too long there. That turret wasn't as low, I think, as they thought it was. I think they got misled by the health bars, and there's Burst Limit with a beautiful ult.
Looks like the Equalizer does come down. Trying to equalize this fight is what seems to be a 4v5 at the moment. And he does go in, not knowing the health bar. Goes in a little too early. I mean, at 3k, went in, the smite does go down to Crowuple. The rolling death does not connect onto the Baron, and HBK and squad walk away with the Baron.
Yeah, HBK making a lot of good plays around the map. They're rotating like a team very well. Ace getting a little bit too overconfident at times in this game. They still have the lead, but they get too cocky on turrets. They get too cocky on where they can position their players. They need to recollect themselves, and they need to take they need to give HBK the respect that they really deserve. They're really, really taking advantage of Ace's cockiness in this game, and that's what's keeping them in this still. It's probably going to get them, if they do another one, if Sword Blue walks too far forward again or something, could cost them the dragon. They need to kind of start grouping up. They need to start getting ready for these team fights. Yes, Sword Blue is down, but he still has 2 items. He is still a dangerous threat for this team. And he, even if he goes down, he can buy his team time for the rest of them to just take a fight.
Yeah, I mean, we do see the Sivir has survived long enough in that lane phase, despite that drastic start. Just, I mean, as awful as it was, they did come back in from a good roam from Hayat, allowing Idris to get a 2v to get a double kill, kind of starting the snowball. And I mean, the Sivir has reached just 2 item power spike, moving on to that third, where I expect it's going to be something like the Edge of Night to keep himself safe. It looks like Vambi is taking a 1v1 on the side of Hayat, but doesn't know that Pro Whoop was around. Vambi just not enough damage. And I mean, gets hit by the Unstoppable Force, the Dark Binding connects, and I mean, Vambian with an overzealous fight just goes down and pays for it with his life.
Again, it's the cockiness. They're too confident they can take fights. They're not really giving respect that someone from HBK could be there, or respecting the damage out from them, and it's starting to cost them a bit. The gold lead has shrunk down to 3,000. They're looking to maybe get a flank from behind, but I don't think they realize that they could be spotted. That fire easily spotted out by Burst Limited. Bush does not hide the fire. Fire is very scary, and they're looking to maybe Fnatic Death Bush this.
Yeah, looking for it. Don't know who will walk in, who will be who is the mouse caught in the trap at the moment. It looks like Dalcom has walked into that bush, and I mean, flashes out after landing the solar flare. It looks like Ace committing everything for this kill onto the Leona, but what is it going to cost you, mate? All 3 of Ace's members are almost going to go down. It looks like Hayat's kind of going down, but Swordpool has managed to trade out 2 kills. Idris going down. No, correct me. Absolutely is going to go down to the end. And I mean, Swordpool picks up 3 kills in that exchange.
Right? I'd say that's worth it. I'd say that's completely worth it. Yes, you give up 3. Yes, it looked really messy, and I thought that was a very messy fight just to start it off with. But Sword Blue, 3 kills, wasn't getting targeted until the end there. Manages to get that last bit of damage to get below the 5% for his execution. Gets 3, gets himself back into this game, and now Vambiant trying to take on Hayat.
I know, it looks like Vambiant has found himself in a scuffle with Hayat. We saw what happened last time, but I mean, doesn't have Morgana around this time, and doesn't need her either. I mean, Hayat's just a monster at this point in the game. Delete, of course, was farming on that top side of the map, trying to put in some pressure, not really just, I mean, trying to get what was left on that side of the map, getting experience, trying to get gold. It's still 8-2. It's still a big damage threat on the side of Ace. And I mean, looks like he's going to take a scuffle with Hayat by himself. So what happened last time? Ace member took a scuffle with Hayat, but I mean, the TP came in through H block. I mean, there's HBK and friends coming down onto Delete. Delete really doesn't do any damage to that Malphite. There's so much stall coming in.
Yeah, the Aurelia damage is kind of slow scaling on something like a Malphite. It takes a moment for it to kind of ramp up. She's still chipping at it, but Vambiet really needs to stop doing him. He only has one damage item. He doesn't have any armor pen. He's not going to ever win this fight against him. And now,
down. The Glacial Fissure does too, but looks like it's both of them miss, kind of creating a T of sorts. As these lines get connected, it looks like HBK has found their stride. Moving forward in this fight, So Sad Sam hits the Blast Cone to safety, but I mean, it looks like HBK is starting to run away with this game, where it looked like Ace was favored to win it in the beginning of the game and mid game from a little bit of some just over aggression.
yeah, like we were saying, like the onus was on Ace to push the pressure on this game to get leads, but they're pushing it too hard. They're just giving up kills, like you see right there, another one down.
Down, the scuffle going down, damage is coming out. Delete is going down so low. Blitzwoman and friends are just going down. Ace is just out of position, going in for another aggressive play, trying to get something back. And I mean, HBK has a strong grip on this game now.
Yeah, the Ace is playing scared now. They gave up way too much up to this point. It's now gone to a tipping point. They're really scared about, oh, if we let Sword Blue die here, we're going to lose this turret. We're going to start getting snowballing. They're going to maybe rotate over, take top turret, maybe bottom turret. They're very tanky, so they could just tank it up. So they try to get a fight there, but it cost them 3, and now they can't even defend this turret. It's just So Sad and Vambiet. Vambiet just kind of sitting there.
I know, So Sad Sam taking it for the team. I mean, trying to keep this turret alive, trying to make it so the inhibitor doesn't go down. Of course, it will be very hard to deal with those waves once the inhibitor goes down. With the Baron spawning in 40 seconds, which looks like HBK will have its eyes on. Probably going to set up vision, get that back, and probably force the issue at some point or another. I mean, from that last fight in that mid lane fight, yes, it looked desperate from Ace, but I mean, from that fight, I think definitely a kill or two could have gone the way of Ace. It looked like more of a miscommunication to me on the way they wanted to play that fight.
That's fair, and you know, that's like if they coordinate up, I'm sure they can find something here. They do still have a very strong team fight comp. It's just they're struggling to contain the threats on the side of HBK. They're struggling to contain H-Block. They're struggling to contain this Malphite. And Sword Blue is basically getting on every fight. And in some of these fights, even Hyatt just holds his ult until everyone gets engaged on. Then he ults, knocks everyone up, and now all of Ace is stuck in the middle of a team. It feels like they need to force a fight. I think in the jungle would be the best spot, like that chokehold we saw that choke spot right before the mid turret went down. I think that would have been a good point to fight at. You drop the rumble ult, you get a Rek'Sai in there to knock everyone up real quick, when you get Braum ult 2 to slow everyone down, and you can trap them on that, get the damage out, and you could burn them quick enough to take a fight. But they need to stop fighting in the open. It's giving space for HBK to get around this rumble ult, and that's a major source of damage at the beginning of this. They're going to just trade bottom turret. I think they're just going to give up this dragon. Vambiet might try for something here.
I'm sure Vambiet will probably go for a steal. I mean, Delete has committed to that split push on the bot side. Brisbane was trying to get H-Bot off that Baron, so the Baron was taking Sword, kind of stalling some time for his teammate on the bot side of the map. Looks like a Equalizer is going to come down. The Solar Flare misses on the Vambiet. Vambiet waiting in the wings, going down. Power Claw over. The Smite goes over to H-Bot and friends. Idris going down, untouched in this fight. Great auto spacing. Sunset Stand with 1 HP. But on the bot side of the map, Delete has been doing some work on this bot lane inhibitor.
Yeah, they give up 3 kills, but like he gets the bottom inhibitor. That's always going to at least be decent. I think though you do try to fight this. Like they look like they almost took this fight. If Sword Blue had gone there, he did back though, which I think was probably a little bit ill-timed on that. But you know, they're just keeping them in the pit. HBK is still very surprisingly slow at this. They don't have the rise, so they can't really push the dragon too fast. The only really fast damage is the Sivir, and the ult from Burst Limit comes down. It lands decently. It does keep burning on Malphite. It keeps him kind of zoned out of the fight. Don't get the dragon, but that Draven ult comes in, grabs Morgana, at least gets him some gold there. And now it's just about buying time to give Delete the time to get that inhibitor, to kind of make them pay for taking the Baron and slow it down. It's hard to use the Baron effectively if you're missing a lane. Yes, you can delay the super minions coming through, but you can't really use it to push, because if you push, Delete's just going to go bot lane and use those super minions and shove right into the turrets, the Nexus turrets, and maybe try to backdoor the game. So that's at least going to slow down this Baron, maybe prevent it from getting too much out of it. But HBK, they've got a gold lead in this game now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little bit of Again, another miscommunication. We did see Sorbu going back. Maybe he meant to cancel. Maybe he didn't. A little bit of a mistake there, as the Baron was going down pretty fast. I think. Well, Burswood was shoving at the wave, trying to keep H block kind of just situated on the top side, keep him there, as the damage, the consistent damage, isn't really there from the side of HBK. So I think without that rise, I don't think that. I think what's going on through Ace's mind is that, oh, they're not going to Baron because the rise isn't there, which is their main damage threat. Their consistent DPS, but I mean, was already dropped down to 6k HP, and I mean, when he took that back, it was just that fight was all but over. Of course, he does pick up that kill with the Whirling Death onto Pro Loophole, but I mean, that's all you get. Do cash in, but I mean, the Baron does go over to HBK. Do we just get that inhibitor? But I mean, the Drake is going to be spawning in 45 seconds, and I don't think Delete can go shove that bot side again.
Yeah,
Not just, of course, going to the top side now, going to shove that in, but I mean, it's going to be very difficult for Ace.
yeah, and on the bright side, though, Draven does have his armor pen now, so he will be able to rip right through Hayat if he gets the chance. It's just about, if he's going to get that chance, or if Hayat's going to just ult and immediately kill him. But if he lives, he's going to be able to get the damage out onto him and Leona, so that's at least good for the team. Bottom turret went down, and it's Delete trying to take this top turret. I don't think he's going to be able to. He's going to have to back up, but he has dragged the rest of HBK out. Dragon is going to be up in 5 seconds. I don't think HBK is going to be able to get here in time. I think that Ace can burn this down pretty quick. They are spotted out. They do know they're here, but yeah, they're not even making a pressure for it. They don't really need to. It's not going to put them on soul point. It goes down almost like in half a second, it feels like. Goes down. Delete, though, going to take that blue buff.
Yeah. A little. Delete is getting a lot of pressure on this top side of the map. I mean, they sent H block to deal with him, who has TP. Quit out that way, but it's a little interesting from the side of HBK. I mean, sets up vision of the bot side of the jungle where that dragon is happening, and then as I'm going to hold that thought as Delete goes into H block, looks like his whole team's behind him. The side H block does go down to Delete. Delete does flash out, but flashes into the waiting hands of Idris and Dalcom and ends up going down.
Yeah, he almost took Idris with him. It's good, though, that he did get H-block. He did force the teleport, so now Malphite and them are all going to have to back to try to stop this bottom push. Again, they're not really getting to use this Baron at all. They're not getting to siege anything with it. They got that bottom turret, but that's about all they've gotten out of it so far. It's just been Ace kind of dragging them around the map, making them waste it. It is down now, so they're not... So they got a little bit of gold out of it, but the gold lead's still about the same as it was at the beginning of that at the end of that Baron fight. So... Now I think it's just a little bit of a waiting game. You're just trying to wait for the next objective before you team fight. You try to maybe wait for this Baron to come up. It is going to be up in a little over 2.5 minutes, so that's a possible outcome. And you just kind of farm till then. You need the Draven to get to his finish his 5th and 6th item. Try to be a little bit more damage threatening. Sivir getting close to that 5th. Probably going to sell the boots for after get the 6th, and that will be the full build Sivir, which is basically a god in this game. Rise, though, still a bit behind. He's only got 3 items, and they're not super expensive, so he's working on that 4th, but that's the one concern I have. But then again, in Rumble, he's only got 2, so it's just been a game the top laner is not really able to grab much out of it. But this is... HBK is still in the driver's seat, I think, of this game. They are still in control. If they take a fight and they win it, I think they can pretty much end the game as long as they don't lose Sivir and Rise. So Ace has got to be very careful where they're picking these fights. I think, Sorbu's also especially got to be careful, because if they collapse on and kill him again, that's going to be a very bad position for his team.
Definitely. I mean, something I wanted before Delete got caught up on that top side, of course, did win his 1v1. It was unfortunately a team diff for him. But I mean, HBK set up vision on that bot side of the map for that dragon, and then they all left to go attack Delete and try to pick up a kill 10 seconds before that dragon was spawning. A little bit of peculiar play, especially when you know that Delete does not have TP, and that H-block does, and is answering him off from the top side. I guess they were scared. Of course, we have seen from our side of the map, we do know that HBK is somewhat winning. At least that has been the story of what these team fights have been playing out in the last couple of fights. But I mean, it was peculiar to see that they didn't want to go for that dragon fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to just force it. They were really far away. They would have had to burn a lot to try to get to it. And I mean, again, it's only 2nd dragon for Ace, so it's not that big a deal. And, every dragon at this point, Ace is forced to fight over. So, it's still the onus is, it's no really pressure for HBK. They can still take it whenever they please. And Delete and Hyatt just kind of dueling right here.
Yeah, I mean, Delete just forcing him out. It looks like H-block has come back to maybe answer him too, in fear of this inhibitor going down again. I mean, Delete is just really committed to getting this inhibitor. Wants that, misses the ultimate as well as the stun. A great stopwatch from H Block, and I mean, it's just down for that. But on the mid side of the map, looks like Ace has got themselves caught out on the side of H Block. A double kill going over to Idris.
Yeah, I don't know what it was that was. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
this starts. Looks like Vambient catches Morgana up on the ward. Doesn't expect 3 other members. Gets caught by the Solar Flare. The Shield of Daybreak lands on the Burst Limit. The Dark Binding lands on him too. And I mean, Idris 12-2 on this Sivir just does tons of damage.
yeah, there was no reason Burst Limit and Vambient went in for that fight. Like, yeah, your rally is going to die on the bot side, but you got the inhibitor. That's all you needed. You know, you buy some space, you buy some time. It's whatever. But you just go in and you don't know where the rest of the team is. You only know that there's probably 3 there. It's still a fed Sivir. She's Sword Blue actually.
I mean, the Whirling Death is staying true to its name. Idris almost drops from that. I mean, 75% of his HP gone. Of course, there's one caster minion. Looks like H-Block wants to go in. The Glacial Fissure does go down. A flat forward from H-Block and friends. Dark Binding connects. Right after that, the cleanse is... Sword Blue didn't even have a chance to flash. Thought he was safe, but I mean, an ace for Team HBK.
That's game. This HBK is just going to end it there. That's kind of like a flat ending. Vampi's going to try to stop it, but it's not going to matter. They're going to take the game, and I feel like Ace, like they were in the driver's seat for so long, but they just kept like getting cocky. They kept making plays that they didn't need to make. They kept forcing things they didn't need to force, and it just gave HBK the opportunity to get back in this game. Like I look at the gold graph. I want to say this was a massive swing in this gold here. If we get a chance to see that, I don't know if we'll get to there. Yeah, the gold earned. No, not. Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of something. I'm thinking of a different place for the goal. I'm thinking of on the match history. My bad. But I'm pretty sure this swung. Like I'm pretty sure there was a 5,000 goldie at one point for Ace, and it just swung completely the other direction at one point because they just kept feeding kills back to HBK, and you can't be doing that. You have to, even if you have a massive lead, you need to respect the opponent until you literally have their Nexus down to 10 health. Then it's like whatever. You can throw it. But if you let a scaling comp just get into little bits to keep getting back into it, like you're basically just throwing the game to them.
Yeah, I mean, up until the first like 5-6 minutes when that double kill happened on the bot side of the map for HBK, Ace was really in a commanding fashion. You saw them in the driver's seat. That was almost textbook. You saw that was one of the most perfect early games you could have for that bot lane on the side of Sword Blue. I believe Idris was down about 30 CS when it was only 5-6 minutes in the game. Perfect lane control, but one misstep cost them, and it kept on snowballing from there. Of course, Delete and Vambient always had a lead in the mid jungle up until the 15-20 minute mark, but as soon as that blew over, Delete was trying to do his best in the side lanes, but I mean, that's all he could do. Hayat, of course, was down in gold, was down in items, but he's much more gold efficient with his items, and I mean, you could see it in the later stages of the game where Delete he didn't have enough damage to blast through Hayat, and I mean, with those great unstoppable forces from him and those great maneuvers around the map, you can see these team fights really swinging over and feeding Idris.
Yeah, Idris carried this game very hard, especially after I could give him mad props because he had such a horrible early game. Like the first 6 minutes of this game were basically hell for him. He didn't get to farm really or anything, and he turned it around and he managed to come back into this and carry the game to the victory. So good on him and good on HBK.
Yeah, I mean, with that, we saw how the game played out. HBK does pull out the win over Ace. And with that, with the win from HBK, we're going to send it over to an interview with Chris Edgeworth and Dalcom.
Hello, folks. Chris Edgeworth here with the next interview with Dalcom. I am wondering a little bit about how you're feeling after that big win. You were saying in the break a little trepidation, but you guys actually, I thought it was pretty decisive in the way that you guys were able to sort of smother them out in this game.
Oh yeah, like what you call it? We went into the game, or I personally went into the game just like having my doubts and stuff, but like we kind of just farmed out, played for team fights, and kind of worked out in the end.
Talk to me about the draft that you guys brought into this game. You had the patented 500 CS win condition with the Sivir in the bot lane, paired up with the Leona for you. And I was just curious what your thoughts on the draft that you guys brought out, but also what they brought out against you, especially since you guys had a little bit of the lane switcheroo in response.
Right. Yeah. So what you call it? Fuck. Oh shit. All right, give me a sec. I need a. Okay, so for our draft, I think our draft was like really, really good, but we played for comfort and opposed to like more meta. Well, like we did follow the meta, but I think their first couple picks were kind of questionable. Possibly they also were going for comfort, but they kind of like they didn't play towards the Aurelia as much, and that kind of they would play like make plays without the Aurelia, and then they would like kind of mess up here and there because of the gold deficit. Like our level 1, me and Sivir, it was pretty bad, but we just kind of farmed it out, caught their mistakes, and yeah, that's it.
Right on. Well, let's talk a little bit about the actual in-game stuff. You guys did an excellent job of cutting the Draven off at the knees. Early game, you rotate the Malphite in for the gank. What was it like playing this out against the Draven?
They kind of like postured for like ganks here and there. Like ever since they got that the early chunk onto us and got 2 of our summoners, like it's just immediately like, oh, they're gonna dive us, and we caught them out early on that, and then they kind of got antsy trying to kill us under tower, and they kind of took too much damage to Draven, and then it just kind of made for an easy gank from our Malphite.
Now, in the earlier to mid game, it was fairly back and forth, especially with a couple of the top push comes to mind where they got a couple towers up there. I think they got 1, maybe 2 kills on that push. So from your point of view, when did you feel like you guys had the game relatively in hand and that you guys were in the driver's seat?
So basically I kind of like I felt like the game was starting to go into our favor like at the beginning once we got that Malphite gank, but then topside kind of like had a rough time with it. And then when they tried to dive or fight bot lane with me and Sivir, I think it was a Rek'Sai and Aurelia, and that almost went like completely sideways for them. And we got 1 team fight in, I think, and then it felt like it was pretty much over then. As long as we just played our objectives correctly, it was pretty easy win from there.
And you guys did play out your objectives pretty well throughout that game. So with that, let's take a look at the matchup for playoffs, or at least the last little bit of the season before we head into playoffs. How are you feeling about your team and this last little bit of the season as we head towards the playoffs?
Feeling pretty good. I think our problems before were like trying to draft around comfort while still being in the meta, and calls, because our calls are like absolutely abysmal. But this game, it kind of like got cleaned up a bit, calling same things, and I think we have a pretty good shot at doing pretty well going forward.
Right on. I like the spirit. Good luck with the rest of the season and going into playoffs. Thank you, Dalcom, for joining us for this interview. Do you have any final words for us before we step away to Game 3?
I just want to give a shout out to my boy Adries. Really brought it out in the end. Stay cute, my brother.
Right on. Well, Dalcom, thanks again for joining us. Folks, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Game 3.